across the country. The scheme has ensured that Bharat's Gati Shakti does not leave the poor behind. Let's take a look at some of these case studies and come back and have a discussion.
PM Awas Yojana, delivering a pakka ghar to all. A simple goal stemming from boundless ambition. Today, we bring to you a heartwarming story from Rajasthan. Goti Devi lives in Rajasthan's Bhilwara district. She lost her husband 15 years ago, and life continues to be a struggle. With a dilapidated roof over their heads, Goti Devi's family has seen extremely difficult times.
पहले क्या स्थिति थी? मकान कच्चा था, कैसा था?
कच्चा हजार पानी पड़ा था। कच्चा क्यों भाई वो तना ये जो होगा फार्म भरोगा तो फार्म भरिया तो ये 12 महीना लग गया वो तना यही तो ये मकान खड़ोगी 2 साल।
क्या काम करते हैं आप?
खेती बाड़ी करना जाया हूँ धान की मजदूर नरेगा में जाया हूँ बस। हाँ बस ये काम
मनरेगा के अंदर ये मजदूरी करते हैं। अभी इनके साथ इनका बेटा भी मौजूद है। क्या स्थिति, परिवार की स्थिति क्या आपकी?
बहुत ख़राब थी और सही नहीं थी। इनसे मतलब पैसे मिलने से मकान की बनाया है उनको। और
बचपन में पापा एक्सपायर हो गए थे?
और बचपन से पापा की डेथ हो गई थी और छोटा था तभी। और घर बनाने के लिए बहुत स्थिति खराब थी।
Today, Goti Devi and her family have become beneficiaries of PM Awas Yojana. With an assistance of rupees 1,20,000, Goti Devi and her family are finally getting a pakka roof over their head. Listening to how their lives have transformed with the security of owning a home.
प्रधानमंत्री योजना से मतलब लाभ मिला है, थोड़ा सहयोग मिला क्योंकि घर की स्थिति खराब है। क्योंकि इससे मिलने से तो हेल्प ही इससे।
कितने पैसे मिले?
1,20,000।
अच्छा।
ये ढल गई तो छत तो थोड़ा सा
और
हो गया है सहयोग और उसे थोड़ा बहुत काम रुक रहा है तो और मिलेगा तो बहुत धन्यवाद है।
इस योजना का कब पता चला आपको? कैसे पता चला?
ये योजना आए थे समिति से, वो बता रहे थे ऐसे ऐसे योजना मिलेगी, आपको सहयोग मिलेगी, इससे फ़ायदा होगा आपको। जो आप जो भी है जो करना चाहते हैं जो घर की बनाने के लिए वो पैसा मिलेगा। इसलिए
प्रधानमंत्री की योजना अच्छी है।
हाँ बहुत अच्छी है, इससे सहायता मिली है हमको।
PM Awas Yojana has given this family in Rajasthan the ability to live with dignity. Their relative too has a message on the impact of PM Awas Yojana on the poor sections of society.
गोटी बाई इसका पति वर्षों पहले स्वर्गवास हो गया तो पंचायत समिति से प्रधानमंत्री योजना की जानकारी मिली तब इनका फार्म भरवाया गया। तो सरपंच साहब ने तहकीकात करके फिर फार्म को राइट करे यानी परमिशन दे दी और इसके 1,20,000 रुपये प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना से मोदी जी द्वारा इनको सहायता दी गई। बहुत बढ़िया लगी ये योजना। ऐसी योजना बहुत सभी गरीबों को मिलनी चाहिए।
Goti Devi and her family are one of the several lakhs of Indian families who have received the gift of home. Bureau Report, NewsX. This is an apartment complex built under the PM Awas Yojana scheme in the capital city of Madhya Pradesh. It's a pakka ghar with all basic amenities in place. The owner of one of the homes in this complex is Kanhaiya, who lives in Bhopal. Kanhaiya shifted to his new house 3 months ago with his family from a कच्चा घर.
तीसरा महीना चल रहा है ये। यहाँ पे बस कोई परेशानी नहीं है हमको। बच्चे किस्त पहले से भर रहे हैं, 1 साल पहले से किस्त भर रहे हैं। अब मकान तो खैर पहले तो झुग्गी झोपड़ी में रहे थे हम लोग, रहते अब कम से कम 12-15 साल 20 साल हो गए रहते यहाँ पे। कीचड़ में खपते रहे, चलते रहे, वरना क्या है, रहना तो पड़ेगा। ऐसे यहाँ से सुबह निकलते हैं काम धंधे के लिए, कभी लगता कभी नहीं लगता है। अब बिल का जो है कि बहुत ज़्यादा आ रहा है बिल।
This is what Kanhaiya's new home looks like on the outside. Not only has PM Awas Yojana helped Kanhaiya and his family live in a safe Pakka structure, it has also given them access to basic amenities such as 24/7 clean water and electricity. All PM Awas Yojana homes are equipped with fully functional bathrooms with proper sanitation. Some of these homes, such as Kanhaiya's, are like an apartment complex with lifts, making it even easier for the residents to move about. There are hundreds of other families like Kanhaiya's whose lives have changed after they became beneficiaries of PM Awas Yojana.
बहुत अच्छा है, बहुत अच्छा करा है मोदी जी ने, क्योंकि एक सपना ही था लोगों का कि ऐसा अपना घर होना चाहिए। उससे भी ज़्यादा अच्छा उनने करा है सबके लिए, हमारे लिए जो भी है बहुत अच्छा करा है, और काम के लिए भी बहुत अच्छा है। अब देखो अपन वहाँ पे रहते थे, कहीं जाने में तो कीचड़ बारिश, कहीं पन्नी फट रही, कहीं टीन खसक रहा है, यही काम भी अपना घर का भी काम हो जाता था और इसका भी हो जाता है यहाँ पर। और वहाँ पे क्या घर में लगे रहो, घर का ही काम नहीं होता, कभी ये ठीक करना कभी वो ठीक करना। और यहाँ पे ऐसा है, सुबह अपना खाना बनाओ, मस्त अपना काम पे बैठ जाओ। ये सुविधा बहुत अच्छा है, और घर में बच्चों के लिए बहुत अच्छा है। बारिश में भी दिक्कत नहीं होती, वहाँ पे बहुत दिक्कत होती थी हमको बारिश में।
नहीं, अच्छी है व्यवस्था, बढ़िया है। मेरे भी 2 बच्चे हैं, वो उनके साथ में परेशान हो जाता था। बरसात में कीचड़ होती थी, कभी पानी तेज गिरता था, हवा चलती थी तो हिलने लगता था घर हमारा। तो उस हिसाब से बढ़िया है, क्योंकि हम उस समय बच्चों को पकड़ें या अपने घर को देखें। तो अभी यहाँ पे तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, पानी 24 घंटे है, मतलब जो भी सुविधाएं हैं सब अच्छी हैं।
With an investment of over Rs 53,000 crore in Madhya Pradesh, PM Awas Yojana has managed to deliver the gift of over 25 lakh homes to thousands of families till date. Bureau Report, NewsX. A Pakka Ghar for everyone. It was a simple goal envisioned in 2015 under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Homes have been built across the nation, ensuring the dignity of owning a home to every Indian. On the occasion of India's Independence Day, we head to Gorakhpur in Uttar Pradesh, where the beneficiaries of PM Awas Yojana explain what their new homes mean to them.
मैंने सर्वे किया, हमको पता चला, तो फॉर्म भरा और पैसा मेरा आ गया, हमारा छत बन गया।
मेरे पास मकान नहीं था, हमको आवास योजना का पता चला, हमने विभाग किया, वहाँ कागज़ पत्र जमा किया, फिर वहाँ पे 20 दिन के बाद मेरा पहला किस्त मिला, फिर दूसरा मिला, फिर तीसरा मिला। हमने मकान बनवा के फिर हम लोग वहाँ पे रह रहे हैं।
हमारे पास मकान नहीं था और प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के तहत हमने फार्म भरा और सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स हमने जमा किए। कार्यालय में जाके हमने सब पता किया, सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स जमा किए और 20 दिन के बाद हमारा पैसा आ गया। हमने मकान बनवाना शुरू किया। उसके बाद पहली किस्त 20 दिन के बाद आई, फिर दूसरी किस्त, फिर तीसरी किस्त कल जो है हमारी आ गई है।
From Gorakhpur, our team heads to the town of Barak in Uttar Pradesh to speak to the PM Awas Yojana beneficiaries.
प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना की हकीकत क्या है, ये जानने के लिए जनपद बहराइच के हम अमीनपुर नगरौर गांव में पहुंचे हैं और ये वो महिलाएं हैं जिनके घरों पर मैं स्वयं गया था और जाने के बाद इनके घरों को मैंने देखा। बड़े ही करीने से इन्होंने प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के तहत जो आवास मिला है उसको इन्होंने बनवाया है और बनवाने के बाद अब उसमें ये लोग रह रहे हैं। इनसे हम बात करते हैं क्योंकि आज स्वयं मुख्यमंत्री ने फिर प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के लाभार्थियों को आवास दिया है और साफ तौर पर प्रधानमंत्री ये कहते हैं कि चाहे वो हिंदू हो, मुस्लिम हो, सिख हो, ईसाई हो, हम एक नज़रिए से देखते हैं और उन्हें आवास और जितनी भी जन कल्याणकारी योजनाएँ हैं वो पहुँचाने का प्रयास करते हैं।
From the uncertainty of not having a home to come back to, PM Awas Yojana beneficiaries in Barak tell us how their lives have changed.
आवास मिला है, पहले खपरहिला था,
अब पक्का हो गया है, पानी चोट नहीं है, बच्चे आराम से रहते हैं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देती हूँ प्रधान जी को।
आवास मिला है, मट्टी का घर रहा पहले, बहुत दिक्कत रहा बच्चन का, हमको सबको पानी चुवत रहा। अब मिला है, बहुत अच्छा लगत है, बच्चे रहा थे सुखी से। प्रधानमंत्री का धन्यवाद।
अच्छा लगता है, पहले से बहुत अच्छा है। पहले बच्चे हमारे बारिश में भीगते थे, अब अच्छा है। हमारा प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी दिया है, बहुत अच्छा है।
हाँ, हमें लाभ मिला है, वतन पावा है और खुशहाल महल और बहुत परेशान रही। वतन ना रहा, फूस रहा है, लड़के भीगते रहे, छोटे छोटे बच्चे रेगा रहे, रोजते रहे।
These were not the voices of the hopeful, but the voices of the done and delivered. With a combined investment of rupees 81,000 crores, PM Awas Yojana has changed the lives of nearly 50 lakh Indians in Uttar Pradesh. These people now have a place they can call home. Bureau Report, NewsX.
All right, so those were some of the ground reports, the reality of Prime Minister's Awas Yojana under Gati Shakti. Let me quickly get in Mr. Sadanand Pawar. Mr. Sadanand, what's important to note over here is under the overarching Gati Shakti plan, while India moves towards the mission of progress and prosperity, it's important for the poor to also be taken along, because India can be called a developed, prosperous nation only when everybody's progress is kept in mind.
Very true. In fact, we have witnessed one of the strongest portfolio of this Pantapradhan Awas Yojana. I'll give you the example. In the month of May, we were in Jaisalmer, and there is a small village. I don't really remember the name of the village, but it is exactly outside the boundary of the Jaisalmer airport, which is controlled by our, I think military people. So in that particular village, out of 68, all the houses in that particular village were covered under Pantapradhan Awas Yojana. And while we checked up with 2-3 families over there, everyone was so happy because it has an extreme climate. In the month of May itself, it was almost 42, 43, and it touches by end of May or by first week of June, it touches 45, 48, sometimes 50 also.
Yeah.
So there is definitely an advantage towards it in terms of hygiene, in terms of the safety, in terms of the utility, which any Indian national should be having it.
Absolutely. Aman Agarwal, these women that were talking to us, they said that, when they were living in these kacha houses, when they were living in these juggi jhopdis, as they call them, they had problems, extreme heat, rainfall, winters, extreme seasons that they had to face and their children had to face. So they would lose time in repairing these houses, repairing these jhuggi jhopdis with the extremities and the vagaries of the climate. The children had to suffer, they themselves had to suffer, their work had to suffer. But this transformation of getting a pakka house has ensured that they can then go to work, they can ensure that their work gets completed, they can ensure that there is a pakka roof under the pakka roof for their children. So it's an all in all a win-win situation for these beneficiaries.
Yes, to a great extent, I agree with you that, it is a win-win situation in the sense that people who are fairly downtrodden and are unable to afford a pakka house are being given a facility by the government of India under the Awas Yojana, and they are getting this benefit and benefiting to have a roof on their head, which is more concrete and more stable as against a kacha house. But in my opinion, you can always giving crutches and freebies, and there will be no end to giving such freebies because there is taxpayers' money which actually goes in building these up. Instead, if you motivate them in terms of encourage them to do work, and instead of the work, you create these frameworks for them, then it is more motivating for them to see that this is out of their hard earning and not something which is a freebie which has been given to them at the end of the day. So as far as the scheme is concerned, yes, but in the long run, it acts as a crutch. And this is not the only government, but even governments in the past have been actually creating these frameworks of trying to give some of these schemes, whether it's a question of cooking gas or it is a question of, facilities like In the south, we have seen, cooking gas, coolers, fans, electricity connections, and so on and so forth. Now, there is no end to some of these freebies, which one government gives is called a freebie, when the other gives it, it's not called a freebie.
Yeah.
But certainly at the end of the day, it is a freebie, because at the taxpayer like you and me who pays taxes is the one who is bearing this cost for these pakka houses. But the good part is that these projects, unlike in the past, have been implemented this time, and we can actually see the benefits coming to the largest masses. So that transparency, the accountability, and the fact that this is taking place now is visible. So that's a good part. But I personally, as an economist, I do not believe in these freebies, which can be given in any form, irrespective of the government in power.
Okay, interesting, Vishal. But also, Mr. Agarwal, keeping in mind that when we need to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor, and to take the entire nation together, for a GDP then to increase, for our per capita income to increase, there has to be a head start that needs to be given to the impoverished, to the poor.
I fully agree. Endorse you and agree with you for that empowerment. But a person does not need free money. People in this country, whether it is agriculturists or it is a rural labor, they need jobs, they need empowerment in terms of earning their livelihood. See that their per capita income goes up, so that they can afford these facilities themselves, instead of depending on some grants coming from some agency or some body in the future as well.
Okay.
You can give them a house today, but you cannot keep giving them a house every year. If they get into this habit, like we saw in the case of agriculture, is a traditional example, where they see that they are given loans and they are waived off, given loans and waived off by one government and the other. So they become used to the fact that the money which is coming in is a freebie for me now, and it will be waived off again.
Yeah.
So that's something which actually discourages instead of encouraging them. Create those opportunities, and there are a lot, like we just discussed in the previous program about railways, like 1,300 railway stations to be created. Now all that infrastructure has to be developed. Why don't engage those people in the villages for whose benefit it is being created, so that they get money, they get paid well, they can actually bring in livelihood, they can pay for their children's fee instead of free education with no education being given to them. But that's where I tend to disagree on the freebie part. Rest of it, as I said, at least the accountability part this time was much, much better as against the previous freebies given by various other governments in the past as well.
Okay. I'm being joined by Vishal Gupta as well. Vishal, another aspect of this Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is that the women are being made the owners of these houses. The women are the ones under whom the leases are being signed. Now this serves dual purpose. One is about providing homes to the poor and the impoverished, and the second is about giving the power of authority, giving identity, giving dignity to the women who for time immemorial have been treated as second-class citizens.
So you rightly mentioned, this is a really welcome move to empower the woman who is the creator also. So in this scenario, what is going to happen is, in terms of the Indian economy, we have seen that the financial capability, which always being possessed more and more by men, is also being now equally shared by women. And when it is being shared and these kind of moves are being coming on, so this creates the equality within both, and in terms of sometimes the decisions which due to various sorts of transactions are unable by the men to take, might be when the women are also financially equally powered, they can take it easily, and unable more and more to not only run a small unit called a family, but also to the nation or entire country or entire world or a globe. So this is a really welcome move which must be done and taken care of, and slowly, not only about this move, but more and more moves should be taken to empower the women in terms of being
Right,
taken.
absolutely. So Danan, I'm going to come back to you. I'm talking about, of course, pakka ghars, whether it is in the rural India or the urban India. And side by side, we cannot ignore the toilet revolution, giving money to these people, to these women, to ensure that toilets are built inside their homes. Again, I link the two because this is about dignity of women. This is about giving identity to the women. This is about giving respect to the women, which up until now in several of these houses and households was an alien concept, because women are supposed to be at home, they are supposed to cook, they are supposed to take care of their families, and now the situation is such that even if they are to step out and work for their livelihood, they have the dual burden of taking care of the family and then earning a living for the family. In such a scenario, if they are being impoverished and they are being exploited, it becomes an all important, it's a symbolic gesture and a practical one at that, listen, the house is in the name of the woman, the toilets are being built so that the women can be protected, they are given dignity, and therefore the overarching message that the poor and the women need to be empowered, they need to be taken forward in this Gati Shakti program of the Prime Minister.
This is a classic example, I would say. There are, with due respect, there are few states in India, even now, where the empowerment of the female is still not really up to the mark, or they have been deliberately suppressed in a way that they don't get the respect. Rajasthan, for that matter, is one of the classic example, whole as a state, where the women are not really giving, they are not really given a respect the way it should have been. For that matter, there are many states. I would not really go into the fact that, which state is good and which state is bad. But this empowerment has given an opportunity. I think one should look, I would agree to one of the panelists, it should not be a freebie, but at the same time, why can't we look at this as a employment generation opportunity? Because there is still a shortage of almost 1 crore skilled employees, whether it is plumbers or carpenters or you name anything and everything which is required for the construction. So that will automatically get into Atmanirbhar Bharat, and we don't have to be really, giving a freebies or any other stuff which one would really expect in future also.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast. This is the second episode of the Mission Gati Shakti that we are taking forward and bringing to you or our audiences on the 15th of August today on the Independence Day. Stay tuned, because we are talking about the airways, we are talking about new airports that are being built, we are talking about Vande Bharat, the expressways that are fast transforming India into a developed country in building the 2047 dream of a developed economy. Thanks.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.